I never wonder who I am. I don't think it's my business to know. I don't care who I am. I just am. And the less you kind of stress with putting yourself in a box, the world will do it for you anyways. And the more you just give yourself total freedom that, I can change every day. I can change my mind. I can say something and then regret and be much better the day after. I can change every day and figure out who I am, and that's the beauty. I don't even need to know what to do, what I want to do for work. You can change everything.
Today's video is going to be a little bit different just because I am on the beach and I am on holiday. But I kind of just wanted to do like a reflection video just because the channel's grown so much in the last 4 weeks and a month. I didn't really expect it to do that, and I guess this is sort of a reflection. And in reflecting in this, I stumbled upon this quote on Pinterest, I think from a movie, and the quote was, "In the silence of acceptance, I find narration." And I think that can truly encapsulate how I feel right now, essentially. But if you're new here, hi, I'm Sharon, and this is Sharon Unfiltered, where I explore media, fashion, politics, and everything in between. As I'm on the beach today, the book I'm reading is called My Poems Won't Change the World by Patrizia Cavelli, and I completely recommend it. It's a collection of poetry, and it's a great reflection, essentially. But in reflecting on the book and the topic of today in terms of self acceptance and self liberation, I kind of want to explore my own relationship with the way I create things and my own relationship with art and creation, and kind of just clarity in that. I think something that's plagued me for a really long time that I hesitated in terms of commentary and creation, because the YouTube channel has been something that I've been wanting to do for ages, and I'm in my third year of uni now. I've been wanting to do it since I first started uni, and it took me so long to get this point. But I think what kind of pushed me forward in terms of creation and commentary in the way I like write stuff on Substack and like create stuff is understanding that the seeing the form of the creation as a form of therapy, and kind of it being like a bucket card, because I think for a long time I kind of waited until people told me I was really good at something, or until people told me that, oh, this is something they want to see. And I think that leans into my people pleasing attributes, in the sense that I want to please people first before I please myself. But I think I'm seeing the creation as a form of I want to please myself first, and if you guys like it, then that's great as well. But if not, I think I'm just exploring that process and having fun with it. And I think that has made the process of creation and creating content and just exploring with different art and different media and collaborating people at work, in my personal life and online, a lot more funner, I guess.
I also want to add, I think I've gone through some level of ego death at this point to reach this point of self-acceptance and self-liberation. Like I said earlier, for a lot of things before I engaged in them, I had to be told I was really good at them before I even started. And that kind of hindered me in life, because I think I was scared of not being this talented and gifted child that I'd always been since childhood. And being told that constantly can also diminish your nourishment and diminish your growth, essentially. It kind of leads you becoming not just cocky, I don't think cocky is the word, but being scared of not being really good at this thing and not being really gifted at this thing. Where I think it's important to be comfortable to be a beginner. It's important to humble yourself. And I think talent, and just God-given talent, if you believe that that is a beautiful thing, that you find something that you're just really good at it straight away, I think that is beautiful. But I think something that's also beautiful is effort and putting yourself through this thing to intentionally learn how to do this thing. And being a beginner and being humble yourself and being a beginner, being comfortable and being a beginner, and basically falling in love with something, and without this pressure of, oh, this needs to be really good, this needs to be really productive. Because I think that takes the joy out of things and takes the joys out of hobbies. And I think that's how I feel about this YouTube channel at the moment, in the sense that outside of YouTube, I don't really do that much of creation. I've only recently started engaging in terms of like films and like documentaries, and it's only been this year I wrote my first political campaign as well, and those kind of things kind of came through the joy of me starting to like creation. But before that, outside of that and like some of the work I kind of now do that's leaning that way, a lot of my job is literally not around creativity, and it's not around my degree is not around creativity either. So I think I had to go through some level of ego death to reach that point and that comfortability. But I want to read a quote said by Simone de Beauvoir, in which she says, "I'm fully aware and in full possession of myself. I have no desire to be understood, admired, pitied, or even known. And I think once you can release yourself from this palatability and this acceptance and this thing of appraisal and constant appraisal, because sometimes I think we can realize for ourselves that we do things because we want to be praised and want to be liked. But I think we need to have things for ourselves in which, if everything in our life is all around that, it becomes suffocating and tiring, and we have no true reflection of ourselves. Who are we truly when we're not performing? And that's just something that I've been able to come to realize in the last 6 months to a year or so.
And in the first page of this book, there's something I really reflected on, which was someone told me, of course, my poems won't change the world. And I said, yes, of course, my poems won't change the world. And it's crazy to think how much the poems in this book have changed my world and completely transformed it and my perspective on life. But I think outside of the commentary, outside of that, I think sometimes there's so much pressure to have so much impact on the world that it stops you from creating in the first place. Outside of the pressure of desirability and wanting to be liked, which I think a lot of us are plagued by. I'm still plagued by it, to be fair. And it kind of shows in my people pleasing tendencies, the way I go out of my way for people who wouldn't go out their way for me. But I also think it's this fear of not having an impact or having legacy. And it's really interesting, I think. That's what I'm reflecting on. I think that was also my fear in not creating anything to start with. But I felt as though, in reflection to this, I feel like the way in which you create must be authentic, and I think not effortlessly, because I think for me to reach this point, I've had to like look at stuff and research, and that requires effort. But I think it must be authentic and true to yourself in that instance. And then I think my fear in not having a legacy or not having an impact on the world is kind of dwindled. I I'm not so concerned anymore on how people view my work and my creation, and if I do have impact on the world. I've been My heart has essentially been opened up because of so many people's comments and the way they comment on my Substack and stuff, and in the way they said your perspective essentially changed my life, which is so cool. But I think even if I didn't have that now, I'm at a place of self satisfaction or self acceptance that even if I didn't have that, I would still feel so gratified because the more I've created, I've gotten more inspiration. So in that instance, am I scared that I won't change the world? Still, but I don't think it influences the way I create anymore. Because I think I was always initially creating before I started the YouTube page, create in a way that was socially desirable, also in a way that's acceptable, that people want to consume me or be led by me. And I think being led by myself and being my own legacy and seeing myself as having an impact on my own life has transfixed me in a way, if that makes sense. But as I'm on the beach, I've been trying to like stay away from being online, so trying to be offline. So I've been basically reading most of this trip essentially, and taking pictures on my camera again. And it's weird because I feel I have this sense of ownership to physical content again, in the sense that I think I was ranting like a few months ago on how you kind of have to pay for everything now. Like even Snapchat, you kind of have to pay for to keep your memories, and like they have to wait the way you have to pay for storage for essentially. But outside of that waffle, I think in this idea of legacy and this idea of creation and self acceptance, I just remember this film that I watched years back, which is one of my favorite films ever, which is Queen and Slim. And spoilers, if you haven't watched it, you can skip this section. Skip for like next 10 seconds. But I get it, they die. I know it's sort of traumatizing, but I love that movie on like a spiritual level. And I think one of my favorite quotes in which he says to her, because she realizes how much legacy is important to him, because it's this one long date, and he says to her, "But you are my legacy." And that was one of the most beautiful things ever. And I don't think you understand how much I love that film. I get it, it's sad, but it speaks to me on a spiritual level and the way in creation. And there's something so beautiful as well of black people in blue. I'm wearing a blue bikini, but outside of this, there's something so beautiful of black people in blue. And this is completely waffle, to be fair, but it's something that just allures to my eyes. Like even when I watch movies like Moonlight, And recently I watched My Father's Shadow by Kinola Davis Jr. I recommend anyone watch it. And if you go onto his Instagram, there's a free link to watch your movie for the next 30 days. I'm not sponsored by this, by the way. But essentially, I watched that with my mom like no, this was like 2 months ago in the cinema, and I completely sobbed because it reflected so much of my childhood in Nigeria. Mind you, the film is set like 2 decades backwards, but it's weird how when you create for yourself, because I think the film spoke to Nigerians who've lived both abroad in Nigeria and also just spoke to the parent generation and the resistance they faced. It's so refreshing when you see media that isn't for everybody, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, they didn't get it. It's a quite a reflective film. It's quite a lot of nuances. It's not spelled out, so you kind of have to watch between the lines. And anytime I've rewatched it, I pick up something new. It's quite refreshing to have that, because there you will forever find your audience in doing what you want to do, or you will forever find your audience, well, however big, however small, we will forever find people that accept you. I know that this video is always about self acceptance, but I think it's important to also have companionship. I feel like sometimes when we speak about romantic love or love in like or this desire to have friends in the community, we sometimes be like, oh, you need to love yourself. And I think you can love yourself and still desire those things. So I think there is an importance to community, and there forever will be people that will find you and meet you where you are. In this desire that you need to change yourself up to be more palatable, I kind of disregard it. I think kind of finding and loving yourself is something that I've sort of grown into doing. But outside of that, I'm also just taking rest and being meaningful, because I think it's really important in this idea of creation and being authentic and self accepting that I will not always have ideas, or I will not always have, and that's just my body telling me to rest. And I've had this really complicated relationship with rest, and I'm trying to change that essentially. So this video might is different from other videos in the sense that I'm kind of reflecting on my own growth and kind of spilling out creation as it comes to me. I think one of the things I was scared of is I'll run out of things to create. I don't think you ever do. You have to take spaces, and there's nuances in creation. And I think was it Maya Angelou or Toni Morrison that was saying this, that the more you create, the more things come out of you. And I agree. But I think also it's important not to pressure yourself when things don't come out of you, and just rest. That's your body telling you to rest, because we're not machines essentially. And the only way to create authentically instead of this optimization thing is to rest and reflect and then come back again, essentially. So this video is essentially that. Thank you.